Welcome. You're listening to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-hosts, Vern Glenn, FP Santangelo Jr., and Russell Jackson. We got all four of us today. Vern had taken a little time off to do a very important situation, the wedding anniversary.
Well, I had the silver anniversary last week, and then we've been on a little bit of a hiatus in the time before that.
You know, and that's one of those things you look at and you go, we've been married so long. I don't know if I was born first or married first. Huh. Okay. All
Let
right.
me tell you something, boy. Being these transitioning to kind of empty nesters.
Yeah.
Man, the house is quiet.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. You know, it's funny.
Good, bad, quiet.
Yeah. That's it's funny. It's funny. We were kind of nervous as to how it was going to be when we became empty nesters, but we actually enjoy it. You know, we don't have the grandkids yet. You know, my son got married last year, and probably pretty soon, but he's across the country, so we'll have to.
But I tell you, the food consumption has gone down.
Yeah.
The trash, we went from 3 cans to 1. I mean, it's amazing. Everything's gone down.
Well, for those who don't know, Vern had 3 strong, healthy, bustling boys, and youngsters can eat.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much boys can eat.
Wow.
You know? I mean, my son would be like that. I bet you guys went through 10 gallons of milk a week.
We went through a lot.
Yeah.
We went through a whole lot. And here's the other thing. The dishwasher, we run it like every 3 days.
Yeah.
It takes forever to fill it up now.
Yeah. That's great. All right. When we come back, yes, we will talk about sports. FP's got some good, very interesting news about Adidas. Wanted to also mention something about NBA Commissioner Adam Silver says the league is monitoring tanking. Thought that'd be interesting. And what a crazy
big issue
season with winners and losers. All right, stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. Don't touch that dial. We're going to be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown, FP Santangelo Jr., Vern Glenn, and Russell Jackman. FP, start us off. What's going on with Adidas?
All right, guys. So if you don't know, this is a Sports Econ 101, right? Adidas is a sports apparel company. They had a contract with Kanye West. And if you haven't been following Kanye West, the artist, he's been saying some anti-Semitic things. And it's been really, really horrible. He's just been kind of going off the cuff, saying things that aren't true. He's being sued by
He was going to go DEFCON 4 on Jews. That was his statement.
Yeah, I think that was a direct quote. Yeah, so it's been pretty bad. And as you guys know, Adidas is a German company. So they finally pulled the plug on the mega Kanye West deal. Of course, you guys know about the Yeezys. You know about all the pop culture with just Kanye West and his sports apparel right now and how big it is. It sells like crazy. It's like hotcakes. But they ended the deal today, and the company is coming under tons of fire because it's taken so long for them to cut ties. If you look at their stock percentages, it's dropped like 15% to 20% in 5 days. Wow. That's crazy. So they've been really tanking stock-wise. They lost another 5% after they finally announced it. But my question is to Russ here. Yeah. Is the reason why they didn't immediately cut ties for legal reasons, and maybe they had a legal team that went through and fine-combed the contract to make sure that this was an artistic expression?
No, I don't think so. I think that first of all, doesn't matter if it's artistic expression or not. People believe that there's a First Amendment right to doing that sort of thing in a commercial contract, and very rarely do you have that right. Remember, the First Amendment covers government censorship of free speech. Has nothing to do with your private contract and whether or not you don't have a right to take the company that you're with and drag them through the mud if you have a controversial stance. It happens a lot of times where people get fired because, you know, they were at the January 6th event, the trying to take over the Capitol, and those people are saying, well, I had a free speech right to do that. But the company says, yeah, but we don't want our name associated with you doing that sort of thing. So what it really was a bunch of penny counters at Adidas saying, well, we'll hold on to Kanye because we're selling so many of his shoes. We'll have to abandon it once it becomes too expensive for us. And that is the weakest type of morality. When you only take a stand when it's costing you money, and you can't look at something on the face of it and say, yeah, we're making money, with this, or we're making money when Roseanne Barr makes fun of Jews, but all of a sudden, when people stop paying attention to us, or when people, boycott us, now we're sorry. And that's the weakest type of morality that you can possibly have.
That's a good point. Russ and I don't agree on a lot of things, but that's something we can both agree on. It also reminds me.
Go get your shot. Go get your shot.
Okay, my shot. Hey, do you remember the lady who worked for Franklin Funds? And I guess that's when the first time that the word Karen came out, with the dog and the guy in Central Park and all that. And Franklin Funds fired her, and everyone was going, "How you can't fire her just because she had an issue with some guy in Central Park?" And again, back to Russ's point, if they can't, we can't hear you, Vern, for some reason.
Yeah. Looks like it's
People
going on.
at-will employees for a reason. People are named at-will employees for a reason.
Yeah. Wow.
I just want to add, guys, that it was pretty interesting that Fernando Tatis Jr., the star shortstop / outfielder for the San Diego Padres, who got popped with a positive PED test and suspension, got let go by Adidas pretty instantly as soon as that news came out. But for whatever reason with Kanye, they held on to it for about a week or two.
Pathetic. Pathetic.
Yeah, and I think it was really the stock dropping about 15%. That was
good. Good.
Well,
I'm glad
you talk about anti-Semitic stuff. This isn't necessarily sports related, but did you hear about California, Berkeley? They're having they're setting up Jewish-free zones. They're not, seriously. It was in the news. They are not allowing people to speak there who support Israel and anything Jew. You just watch. It's the society is going back down again.
Yeah, it's the doom and gloom news. But I thought this was an interesting sports news, a piece of news. It's pop culture and sports mix. It doesn't get much better than that. So pretty interesting, and maybe sets a precedent for an athlete that speaks out against something in the future. So
yeah. So Vern, we see your pretty face, but we can't hear you now for some reason. I'm not sure why. You had that issue once before. Well, just hey, getting on to the crazy NFL season with the winners and losers. Holy smokes! People are supposed to win. Teams that are supposed to win aren't, and teams that are winning or not. I mean, the Jets and the Giants.
And 3/4 of the league is injured.
Yeah.
Again,
and in the case of my fantasy team, 90% of it is injured. Pathetic. I'm 1-6. I'm 1-6, guys. And I started off with Jonathan Taylor. I was like, oh, okay, I got, the hands down, slam dunk, a bell cow running back. And I have gotten 2 games out of him this season.
Yeah. This is kind of the craziest NFL season in a long time, and a lot of people are complaining that it's the most boring just because of what's been going on with the scoring, the lack of scoring, a lot of injuries. I mean, we did have a huge trade here in San Francisco. Well, I'm in Brazil right now, but back in San Francisco, Christian McCaffrey from the Panthers to the 49ers. But then the Chiefs just ruined that party and destroyed them on Sunday. So it's kind of an interesting season. I think you have 3 juggernauts in the league, and then there's everybody else. There's the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Philadelphia Eagles, which is pretty interesting. And the New York Giants are playing pretty good too. And sorry if I'm leaving out some teams, but there's 3 big teams that you can circle like, whoa, these guys are the real deal. And everybody else is still trying to figure it out. I mean, the Seahawks are leading the NFC West. What?
Without Rick Wilson, And didn't McCaffrey, didn't his dad, Ed McCaffrey, play for the 49ers? And then he eventually
Easy Ed. Yep.
Denver. Yeah. Maybe that's why he was excited to come back to the Bay Area, because being a kid, his dad playing for the Niners. Yeah.
Well, he went to Stanford.
McCaffrey went to Stanford. McCaffrey's dad played underneath Kyle Shanahan's dad, Mike Shanahan.
Ed McCaffrey. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Go ahead, Vern. You've been trying to talk. Go for it.
We've been seeing your mouth move the whole time. We couldn't hear anything.
Yeah, technology, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, that situation's pretty interesting with Ed McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey, Kyle Shanahan, and Mike Shanahan. It's a big circle.
Well, I was at Levi Stadium when he first came out of the tunnel in his 49ers swag pregame.
Speaking of tunnel, you sound like you're in a tunnel. You sound like you're in a tunnel.
I just mute
First,
one
we
of them.
couldn't hear you. Now we're hearing you twice.
Yeah.
You heard me twice.
We hear you here.
Yeah,
we hear
I
you
think
twice.
you're coming through 2 different channels.
Hang
Yeah.
How about now?
Yes.
Better?
That's
Yeah.
much better. Okay, so you're at Levi
I was
Stadium.
saying I was at Levi Stadium when he came out, and he was in his 49er garb. He came out. Everybody was there to kind of capture that moment, and people just went nuts in anticipation of it. And I've been doing sports for a long time. First of all, a mid-season trade like this, very rare. Involving the 49ers, unheard of. But it happened on a Thursday. He shows up on Friday, goes to his physical, has his press conference, walks out for just to kind of to stretch and do like some sideline things. And then Saturday is a walkthrough. And then Sunday, because he's a Stanford man, was able to understand just a handful of
Exactly.
And then they brought him in, and he got 10 touches, 62 yards. That's 6 yards a touch.
He did.
And so I just can't wait to see what happens after this Rams game. He's going to have a bye week to just bone up a little bit more. But this McCaffrey-Shanahan kind of family affair thing has really come full circle because Kyle Shanahan's sister used to babysit for Christian McCaffrey when he was just like a kid. I mean, they were that close. Shanahan wore number 87 at Texas because his favorite player was Ed McCaffrey.
Hey, guys, we're going to cut to our first commercial trivia question. Talking the World Series here, okay? What starting pitcher has pitched in 22 World Series games throughout his career? 22 World Series games. What pitcher? Starting pitcher. All right, stay with us. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, along with Vern Glenn, FP Santangelo Jr., and Russell Jackman. First trivia question. What starting pitcher has pitched in 22 World Series games throughout his career?
That's crazy to me. I don't know.
22 games. Starting pitcher.
Got to be a Yankee.
Glavin?
Yeah, no, it's got to be Yankee. Yes.
Oh, it's got to
Got to
be
be a Yankee, like Whitey Ford or somebody.
Bingo. Whitey
Bam, am I
Ford.
right?
Whitey Ford. Very good. Nice. I was going to ask another trivia question saying, who's lost the most games, and it'd be Whitey Ford also, but that's okay. All right.
Playing them to lose them.
Yep.
Okay, so FP, World Series, huh?
Yeah, guys, we have the Houston Astros versus the Philadelphia Phillies. It is the third time in 4 years that the Astros are facing an NL East team. Of course, they played the Nationals and lost in 2019. Yep. The Astros played last season, the Atlanta Braves lost, and now they're going to be playing a very, very good and inspired Philadelphia Phillies team. Yeah. And it's kind of interesting because the Astros look especially unstoppable right now. So it's like an unmovable object versus the unstoppable force. Yeah. It's going to be a very good series. And guess what? The ratings are way, 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 way up in baseball.
Well, this is Bryce Harper's chance to finally get in the World Series. He was with the Nationals, but not when they won the World Series. That's probably got to be a little bit of a chip on the shoulder, so to speak.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And he showed up this playoffs.
Well, I was going to say it's the best 2 teams that money can buy. Oh, wait, no, it isn't. And what do we have to say about the Dodgers spending nearly $300 million to win one postseason game against the team they were 22 games better than in the regular season?
Yep.
Would you love to look
at any time any team can beat any team?
Yankees were swept. Mets didn't do anything in the postseason. I mean, you're talking like about a couple $1 billion worth of payrolls right there. If you add all of those teams up. And what do they have to show for it?
Yeah, but Russ, what I'd like to know, and this gets back to the Sports Econ 101. Wouldn't you love to look at the Dodgers books and find out, what the overhead was and what they made? I wonder how those numbers would be.
Yeah,
because there's
Magic
radio
Johnson
rights,
is going to have to
rights,
charge
there's
more
merchandise.
Magic Johnson is going to have to charge more for his popcorn in his theaters.
Oh, no, guys. They were #1 in attendance this year, the Los Angeles Dodgers. They make their money. Trust me. They always come out on top. And guess what? They have $109 million coming off the payroll just for next year. So they could really make a run at Aaron Judge, depending if Judge wants to go to LA. He grew up a Giants fan, so that'll be interesting.
I wonder how much they actually make on ticket sales. You know, I mean, you're talking about 81 games and then plus playoffs and stuff, right? You know, some tickets are for free and, you know, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't know actually how much they really
Well, the players actually pay for their tickets now for their families. So that comes out of your paycheck now. It's not like you get a free ticket. Maybe you get a bone thrown to you and you get like a nicer seat than usual,
Yeah.
but yeah, and they're averaging 43,000 fans a game. So that's
kind of
wow.
close to what the A's are, huh?
yeah, compared
They
to the
win.
A's that had 5,000 a game.
You know, here's the other thing. Just to peel back the onion a little bit. What are they paying in day-to-day stadium costs, the electric bill? I mean, the workers that work the game. I mean, where's that money come from?
It's got his ticket sales.
Dodger dogs.
Well, no, guys, the main source of revenue for these teams, believe it or not, is the merchandise. I'm in Brazil right now, okay? All the way, how many thousands of miles down south? In Brazil, the two apparel I see most often and most common are the LA Dodgers hat and the New York Yankees hat. They're everywhere. I see Dodgers jerseys here everywhere.
What about knockoffs?
Russ, let me finish. Another thing I see, it's not Lakers uniforms. I see Warriors gear everywhere here because they have a lot of Brazilians that have played for the team, and they just drafted G.
Yeah, they have Leandro Barbosa.
Yeah, and they just drafted G. Santos. So I see lots of Curry jerseys here, and everybody tunes in. Trust me, I'm teaching classes here in Brazil right now.
Okay, I'm moving to Brazil.
No, they really know their Warriors basketball. They love the Warriors down here. It's
Nice.
pretty interesting.
You know, I wonder.
That's where you make your money.
Okay, so if you're management, how much of that do you put in the back of your mind? Like, you know, let's say someone from Ecuador, as an example, and you go, you know what, we're going to be selling a lot of merchandise in Ecuador if we have the one Ecuador player from the entire country playing on our team. You know, I mean, obviously the guy's got to be decent, but you know, you kind of.
Toscano Anderson represented Mexico in a lot of the things that he was doing last year, and he was extremely popular among Mexican Americans.
Let me put it this way. If you go look at the Warriors social media and you scroll down a few months ago when G. Santos, the Brazilian prospect from Brasilia, got drafted in the second round. He didn't make the team. He's not on the roster right now. He has like 1.5 million likes for his posts compared to, I don't know, Jordan Poole that has 800,000. And we're talking about Jordan Poole here compared to a second round draft pick. So it is.
That's right.
It's a lot. Trust me, there's a lot involved. And I just want to further this conversation. Sports Econ 101. When you sign a player like Bryce Harper, for example, the Boris Mafia, the Scott Boris Mafia, as they say, come together with the business analytics and they say, hey, you're going to make $1.5 billion over 5 years in jersey sales just from Bryce Harper. And that's how you get a guy signed.
Now, what about all the knockoffs though from other countries? You know, with apparel and stuff. They still say, it happens, but we're still going to make a lot.
Yeah, somehow I think they're still making money. You know, even with the knockoffs.
I would be surprised if the USL still making money on Steve Young on his jerseys.
Yeah,
probably are.
I'd like to know this. What if you're one of the owners, whether you're majority or silent? Wait, you can't hear me now?
I can hear you.
No. I was wondering if you could hear me.
Yeah, we
a little
can hear
bit.
the buzzing now.
Okay, I got some stuff going on in the background also.
Don't the owners kind of share in some of these profits? Where does that money come from?
Yeah, no, they do. They take a percentage of it. And then I think a lot of it's investing too. I don't think there's ever been correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I read something very recently about this, especially during the collective bargaining agreement talks. There's never been a sports franchise in the U.S. out of the big three, right? The NBA, the NFL, and the MLB that have lost value every single year. So when you buy a franchise and you go to sell it, even 1 or 5 years later or 20 years later, you usually made like a 500% profit. It's
wow. That's a good point. That's a good point. So even if you've lost money during the time, and you still sell for a huge profit, it still might have been smart.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
it's one of the best investments you can make. I mean, the interest on it is incredible. So
Civic private money.
There you go.
I should just buy a sports franchise.
Yeah, actually, some years back, my old company, somebody from the Sacramento Kings, one of the owners, wanted to borrow against his vow. He was going to put up his share of the Kings, but unfortunately, the documents, the legal documents said no. None of our owners are allowed to put up their share, because if we had to foreclose, suddenly Edward Brown was going to be one of the owners of the Sacramento
That would have been
Kings.
cool. That would have been cool.
Put Vlade
really cool.
back in.
Yeah.
I'd be right there on the court telling him, running plays. Yeah, I don't think they want that.
No.
He sits in his courtside seats and looks around and goes, "Pay for that."
Well, I get this. So years ago, when the Warriors were pretty lousy, we had the opportunity to buy tickets right behind I think it was behind the announcers, and they were going to be like $8,000 for each one. And we were like, that's a lot of money, now.
Yeah.
Those are probably $40,000-$50,000 each. We probably should have done that one. Really quickly, we got.
I think E40, the Oakland-based rapper, pays $5,000 a ticket for his seats per game. So, and he gets two seats for him and his wife. So that's $10,000.
Wow.
To come see a game.
Yeah. So, and again, when they weren't that good, we would get these corner tickets, almost on the floor. They were really, really good tickets for watching a game. And we used to pay, I don't know, like $300 a ticket at the most. And even that was like, God, this is really expensive for 3 hours or 2 hours worth of enjoyment. But you also got to eat down at the special lounge and all that. And now those tickets are like $1,500 a pop. Go ahead.
But Edward, if you had gotten those seats, again, this is Sports Econ 101, and you took one client to a game, couldn't you write off all those? Could you write all of that off?
Yeah, there's certain rules about entertainment and tickets and all that. Again, we didn't own the seats. I would just buy them from Craigslist, from a legitimate person. But yeah, they clamp down on those types of travel and entertainment type expenses with the season ticket or just tickets in general.
I'll put it this way: at NBC Sports, I had to take like a 45-minute course on the ethics of gifting tickets to people.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, hey guys, we're going to move to our second trivia question here, talking the World Series. Who holds the career record for most home runs in the World Series? An extra special bonus points if you can name the number. How many home runs? Who holds the career record for the most home runs in the World Series? All right, stay with us. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown, FP Santangelo Jr., Russell Jackman, and Vern Glenn. Hey, by the way, do you know the reason I mention our names? Because many years ago on my business show, I just was brand new doing this. This was back in 2010. And I just never mentioned who we were. I just kind of came on and said, okay, and we're back. And then just went in and some lady called up and she just ragged into our person who, because we used to do it live back then, into the person sitting behind the booth and said, I had to listen to the whole hour before I found out who you guys were. You guys should mention who you are. And I was thinking, that's actually a good tactic. I should just not say anything. Then people have to listen.
That was one of those
go to the
radio
website.
things, especially when you're doing radio and you have like a guest on or whatever, every segment or two, something like that, on a rejoinder or something like that, you have to mention who you're talking to, because in radio people leave and come back.
Yeah, they don't know who you're talking to. Yes.
This was my main job as a radio show producer when I was over at KMBR. It's called Resetting the Table. And I would be in the radio show host's ear, whether they were filling in or that was their everyday show. Reset the table, pressing the button, talking there. Hey guys, reset the table. Who are you? Who's on? I don't know.
Well, if they're listening from the website, they might have a clue.
Yeah, but still,
Possibly.
you never know.
Okay. Second trivia question. Got to make sure we get this question in. Who holds who holds the career record for most home runs in the World Series?
Reggie
Babe Ruth.
Jackson.
It's
Okay,
got to be
Reggie Jackson and FP. Who did you say?
Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth? No. You got the right team though, and not the Boston Red Sox.
Lou Gehrig.
No, but a little after him.
A little after.
Come on, big stick.
No.
Five.
Oh, Mickey Mantle.
Yes, Mickey Mantle.
Mickey Mantle.
Mickey Mantle.
Okay.
Now, guess how many home runs?
I don't know. 20.
Close. 18.
Oh,
18
I'll
home
take
runs.
it.
All in one game too. Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to mention here.
That
Okay.
record has stood for a long time.
Yeah. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver says the league is monitoring tanking, a serious issue. So there's a French phenom, Victor Wembanyama. Hey, I think I pronounced that correctly.
There you go.
7'3", waiting in the wings. This guy's 7'3", and I don't know how old he is, but what, 18, 19 years old? And so that, a lot of these teams are going, if we're not going to be close, maybe we should tank and, get this lottery pick. So, I mean, and the thing is, the season just started. I mean, what have there been, like 4 games maybe played? And, 80 games, and Adam Silver's already talking about tanking. I mean, I would think when you're getting, when there's maybe 5 games left and teams are going, well, we're not going to make the playoffs.
This kid's a freak. He's 7'3", can shoot 3-pointers and fadeaways and drive. He's like Kevin Durant.
He's got handles. It's the kid's unbelievable.
Yeah. I've seen some footage from him. He's definitely worth tanking. But guys, isn't it illegal to tank a business if it's not in sports? Isn't it illegal to try to tank a business so people can short sell, your stocks and all these different
inside
things?
information is illegal.
Yeah, isn't it?
Which, by the way, tell the people in the U.S. Congress that that's illegal because they seem to forget that. Okay.
Yeah. It's a whole nother thing, which is crazy. But isn't it, I mean, am I wrong? Is it illegal to tank a business on purpose? So that way, I don't know, somebody can buy you out, right? Because your shares are lower. Isn't
There is, Russ, isn't there there would be a fiduciary.
Yeah, there is a fiduciary duty, and you could be held for fraud if you are legitimately, if you are actually found to be mishandling a business, and the shareholders can sue you.
Wait, do you remember the movie? Remember the movie Major League with Charlie Sheen? Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
What is
or the producers, guys? What about the wonderful movie, The Producers?
So
kind of thing.
I want to bring this to sports. Why isn't it illegal for sports teams to tank? Is it because they're privately owned and they're not publicly owned?
Because it's hard to prove that.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is that well, it's like just as to tie it into fantasy sports. Okay. We have had conversations that fantasy sports teams aren't supposed to tank themselves. Now, I'm 1-6, and sadly, I'm actually not trying to be 1-6. I just suck this year. I'm not doing that on purpose, but then again, you have in soccer, you have the relegation leagues, which, will kick you out of the league if you really do suck that bad, and bring in a team that, has been on the outside. People have thought that up too, is that, to punish a team. Can you imagine a pro team in the United States being off for an entire year because they suck so bad?
Well, when they TV figures out, for Monday Night Football and which teams they're going to do, don't they? They want to have the teams that people want to watch, right?
And then we get Chicago against Denver. We have the Bears against the Broncos on prime time. So,
but every now and then you get
those two fan bases.
Get a good one. We just saw one. The Bears were like a heavy underdog at the Patriots, and the Bears won big.
Yeah, I know this year has been, and again, I guess Russ said there's been a lot of injuries on a lot of teams, but it's been crazy. I don't think I can remember a year this crazy. I know it's still kind of early in the season, but it's anybody's game. Except for the 49ers, because unfortunately Jimmy G is back to being Jimmy G. How'd you like that? How'd you like that end zone? How'd you like that interception? You know.
And I know this is a locally based show, but I can't think of any other NFL team that has been as snake bit injury wise with their starters as the 49ers.
Maybe the Ravens.
On defense alone, they had as many as 8 starters out.
They had 21 guys injured out of their roster, which is literally half the roster.
It's pretty incredible. But if you look around the league right now, it's pretty bad around the league. Like a lot of people are going down, and it's got to be the artificial turf.
I was just going to ask you if it's the turf,
as well as the speed of the game. It's just there's something going on. They need to fix it. But just getting back to that whole conversation, I think it'd be interesting if there was harsh penalties like relegation or something else for a team to tank, because it's very prominent in every sport.
But again, as Russ says, how do you prove it, right? I put the third string starters in because, you know, they haven't had playing time, and I want to protect my starters so they don't get hurt. That's a legitimate.
Maybe the starters suck, and you have to pull them.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, look at the Patriots and their star Mac Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good conversation to have, and I think there is a solution. I don't think this is like something where you can just be, oh, well, you know, I guess we're tanking this season, right? I think there's a way to do it the correct way. And if you want to talk about parity too, I just realized that if the Philadelphia Phillies win the World Series this year, it's going to be the 9th different team to win the World Series the past 9 years in baseball.
Wow.
Oh, wow. There hasn't been any back-to-back. Wow. You know, just think about it from a player standpoint. You're on a team where you kind of can see the handwriting on the wall that we're tanking this year. I mean, that's going to be a little demoralizing to go out and try to go out there and win, except for at that point, you almost have to think, you know what, I'm playing for myself because I'm going to show everybody how good I am.
That's why teams don't usually tank, because if you're a player on there and the team is going to tank, well, that's going to make you look bad. And a lot of times you're going to be cut after that year. You know, they're going to clean house and go with new players. And then you go to another team and they're going to say, well, you were part of that team that tanked, aren't you?
Good
Especially if you're not a star player on the team and maybe your contract's got some incentives. If you meet these incentives, then you get more money. It would make me want to play as hard as I can so I could reach those to keep the food on the table.
Excellent points, gentlemen. Excellent. I'm gonna hire you all for my economics portion.
By the way, getting back to the whole injury issue, we were talking to George Kittle the other day, and he raised an interesting question. He goes, "Hey guys, I mean, we see this in other sports. Is it too much to ask that all stadiums have the same kind of grass, artificial grass? Why can't we all have the same playing conditions week to week, game to game?"
Well, in theory, you know when you're the visiting team on that, because not one team is the home team all the time. But I mean, I get it. You know, if your home field is artificial turf, then at least half your games are going to be on that. No, that's a good point. I mean, what's the answer?
Yeah, I don't know. He just said, can't we just make it fair? You guys are talking about the injuries, and most of these, ACLs and sprains and stuff like that happen on artificial turf instead of natural grass or synthetic grass.
Have they actually done like an analysis of that and then come out with that actual report that says, hey, look at how many more injuries are on artificial turf? Okay, because I remember FPU.
The owners don't, but the owners don't care, because what are they actually fielding? They're actually fielding gladiators. It's gladiators.
Yeah.
Down, wheel them off, bring in the next person.
Well, no, I know, but when you're, Tom Brady gets hurt, of course he's toward the end of his career, or it's like you don't want him to get hurt. That hurts all of football. It's gonna
change the rules to protect the quarterback.
Yeah. We're talking about like every player.
Yeah, but all the other, Nick Bosa, George Kittle. I mean, people
I just want to emphasize that you can go on Google right now and type in the increase of injuries on artificial turf compared to playing on grass, and it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. There's a huge difference. There's a correlation for sure.
They may just do that. I mean, yeah, it'll be expensive to make the switch, but probably not that much. I mean, it's funny. Regular grass is a lot cheaper to put in. It's a brand new expense if you already have an artificial turf. But then, you got to do the grounds crew. You got to really take care of it because, I mean, it's kind of fun watching sometimes, these guys playing in snow and mud and all that. But does it make for good football? Not always. Especially
it's an all-weather sport. So, I mean, you get what you get.
Do you remember seeing some of those games that are played in mud and you can't tell the offense from the defense?
Yeah.
I mean,
I have conversations all the time with San Francisco Giants head grounds crew keeper, Greg Elliott, and he has drones and he has robots that mow the field now and show like different temperatures and dehydration levels. It's like to a science. So it's a lot of money. I'll give the owners that, but I think it's worth it protecting your assets on the field. So
yeah, and also making for a good game. So you got to make sure that you don't pull a Vince Coleman and get trapped underneath a tarp. Remember that? Yeah, that was kind of crazy. Okay, you guys ready for our last trivia question?
Go.
What pitcher holds the record for pitching 14 innings in one World Series game? That's a good question.
We've already had Whitey Ford, and we've already had
Mickey Mantle.
Mickey Mantle. So I have a feeling this is somebody like Honus Wagner or something like that.
No, he wasn't a pitcher. He was not a
pitcher.
He
wasn't a pitcher.
No, we're talking someone who probably shared a locker with Honus Wagner. You just keep going back further and further.
He was after Honus Wagner. Okay. What pitcher holds the record for pitching 14 innings in one World Series game? I mean, obviously it's got to go back in time because you don't have that anymore. I'll say that there was an overlap though between Honus Wagner and this player. All right. Stay with us. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back with some closing comments. Don't touch that dial. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn, FP Santangelo Jr., and Russell Jackman, who does not like me very much at this very moment because I asked trivia questions that he says, "Hey, my grandfather wouldn't know." All right, what pitcher holds the record for pitching 14 innings in one World Series game?
My guess is Walter Alston.
Walter Alston.
I'll say Walter Johnson.
Not Walter Johnson, but Walter Alston. Okay.
I'd say Rock, the Rock.
The Rock. No. Okay. Okay. Here's a hint. You ordinarily would not think of this guy as a pitcher, but he started off.
Babe Ruth.
Yes. Babe Ruth, 1916.
Wow.
Is that enough? Going back in enough time for you, Russ?
Yes, that is.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's enough time for you too.
But a little tangent on Babe Ruth that a lot of people don't notice. Sports Econ 101. He's the reason why every single athlete in every sport gets paid in America today. All tracks back to Babe Ruth. He was the first American superstar in a major sport to get paid.
And my mother shook his pinky. All right. Okay, here we go. Thoughts for the day. Which rock group has 4 guys who can't sing or play instruments? Mount Rushmore. That's a rock group for you. All right. And why did the Cyclops give up teaching? He only had 1 pupil.
Oh, God.
That's a bad one. I know.
That dad joke right there.
I thought I cracked up when I read that one. All right. Tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We'll be discussing sports topics from a business perspective, asking more sports trivia questions, and having more dad jokes, of course. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown, your host. We'll see you next week.
What a time to be a sports fan.
Yeah.
All 4 big sports overlap. Good night, America.
So long.
Adios.